Welcome everyone, Costin here with the build order as Loki in Age of Mythology Retold, playing against the Titan difficulty AI that is controlling Poseidon, because you're probably going to encounter this particular matchup, and it can be difficult to deal with. Regardless, we are just going to want to get one villager over here to start going on that ox cart over there on gold, and then another one over here to go on that ox cart with respect to wood. Hopefully wood. And yeah, if I can catch that bastard. See, that would be a really good one. I'm not gonna lie, like, getting their scout would be freaking fantastic, but good luck with that, because he's faster than you are. Okay. So now that you've got this sorted out, what you want to do is leave one guy over there on gold for the moment. Yeah, if you can get the enemy scout, that's generally better than other options, but hey, we work with what we're given, right? Okay, so let's get those cattle. Okay. Now, dependent on your town center location, by the way. Okay, so we want to get free on wood right here. Goal is to get 5 on wood, 6 dwarves on gold. Okay. Alright, this is the point where we can move that one aside. Okay. So we got 4 dwarves, 5 now. Alright, that's a relic. You only need 1 Hersir right here, by the way. But you do want a Hersir. You might want 2 if you're, playing against Zeus, to be sure. Alright, so that's another relic. I mean, forget about... Like, you don't necessarily want to pick up all relics. Just gonna point that out. Okay. Alright, and since I'm not necessarily in the best position, if you will, with regards to food, pretty good with gold. It's not necessarily important. Alright, let's get another dwarf, because we do have those resources, and once they start sorting out, go with Heimdall. So I messed it up a bit because I got too many Hersirs, but that's just, natural. It depends on what you're dealing with. But it's not really bad to get more Hersirs than you might need. Just FYI. Because you are going to use those Hersirs. It's not like you're just not going to use them. So my opponent may have gotten to tier 2 faster than me, but it doesn't necessarily matter that much. I mean, it obviously does, but not necessarily a significant amount.
Hver þar? Já, atrás. Something.
Alright, we're gonna get that wood upgrade later on. But yeah, you just want to start getting Hersirs, longhouses. Grey hole. Now, here's an interesting bit. So most Poseidons will go for... most Poseidon players, and so will the AI, will usually go for... for Hermes. Pretty obvious reasons why, you know, it's fairly natural for the sake of Poseidon players. But an interesting tidbit is, like, if you're dealing with Loki, you may actually want to go Ares. Why would you want to go Ares? Well, I'll explain why. Ares, his principal benefit is that he gives you Hypaspis, and let me tell you this, Hypaspis will defeat pretty much everything that the Norse can put. Well, Hypaspis and other units will, of course, just be able to defeat anything. Okay, get that back. Go back there. Okay. We need more food. And now would be the time to get, you know, certain upgrades. You do want an armory, because you want to be able to pick up the shield upgrade. Also, yeah, market would not go amiss here, by the way. Because, like, at the amount of gold that I actually do have over here, it would be pretty useful. Alright, there's some dogs over there. And now we can push on to Age 3. Soon. Like, remember, Hersir becomes stronger the more, you know. Okay, just gonna get an extra villager right there. So you can be very aggressive with your push, or you can, depends on your opponent, right? And now we can go with either Bragi, for the boar, for the swine array. That can be really good. Or you can go with Njord. And that can win you the match right there and then. Now let's just put these guys on some gold.
Tilsatt. Fjósamaður. Ég vil. Já. Hver það samþykkt?
And we can put these guys on some resources right here.
Til ég. Já. Samþykkt. Já. Já.
Samþykkt.
Ég vil. Satt. Já. Já. Hver þar?
Try not to kill the villager that you've put.
Ég til orustuslag. Hver þar? Já. Já.
I really don't know what the AI was doing there.
Samt til orustuslag. Já.
Like, sometimes the AI is weird, really. I mean, the Titan AI is the same AI as before, okay.
Tilbúin. Já. Já.
Skipan, ég vil.
Til satt. Something.
And now we can summon all of this. And between the mountain giant, the summonable units, you should be able to win. If you have to play more, if you can be very aggressive early on, go for it. Like centaurs, you know, if you get the defense upgrade. But yeah, these trees are really good against structures. Maybe they need a nerf against that. Maybe they just need a nerf in general. I mean, they're useful, don't get me wrong. But yeah, they're a bit much. Also get Jotun's upgrade. And Einherja upgrade. Gotta love Loki. Ah, yes. The desperate call over there. Now, when you're in this position, one of the things you can do is you can start getting Jarls. Like, raiding cavalry, you know, can be useful, but if you're gonna try and compete as Loki against Poseidon cavalry-wise with raiding cavalry, it's probably not gonna work as well as you might want. And that's just something. By the way, the one nice thing about Gjallarhorn is, like, it really, really buffs a lot. Okay, so you can start getting various raiding cavalry various cavalry upgrades, and then go with Jarls because yeah, you got Njord Jarls. But yeah, the AI is pretty much finished over here. And you'd be surprised how well this works against so many players. But yeah, it's like get to H2. Either be very aggressive in H2, or if you can't be aggressive because, say for instance, your opponent has countered that by getting, you know, Ares or getting a particular god that's good in H2, play more defensively, get to H3 as quickly as possible, and the power boost that you will pick up through Njord is significant. And then once you're with Njord, if the game is dragging on at that point, go with Jarls. Unless the enemy has very strong anti-cavalry benefits. It doesn't matter if they have strong cavalry. It's like Jarls will defeat, like Njord Jarls will defeat many things that are going to be thrown their way. Depends on, like, at this point it depends like what you're dealing with. Have you already won the game, as I have here? Has your opponent, you know, a couple of tricks up their sleeve still? And yeah, that was a mistake. As Loki, you do certainly benefit from fighting continuously.
Tilbúin, já, skip satt. Tilbúin, atrás.
Já, atrás.
Destroy those houses.
Fjósamaður.
Ég vil. Something. Tilbúin.
And yeah, get those cattle back.
Skip. Tilbúin. Til orustuslag. Já, atrás. Hver, já, ég vil. Til orustu slag, já, atrás.
Tilbúin samþykkt.
Ég vil fjósamaður.
Hver til orustu slag. Atrás, til
But be careful about certain matchups where, like, this is your concern. Like, you gotta be careful about certain matchups where your opponent can, you know, match you tier 2. Like, that's the one thing that can cause you to lose. Even against AI. Or, you know, Cyclops are not necessarily great units, but high pacifists against Hersirs, yeah, they'll win that fight. Many other things wouldn't, but just those guys would. Like, that's the thing. You guys gonna give up? I guess not.
Fjósamaður.
Tilbúin. Samt til orustu slag.
Já, ég vil samþykkt.
We can even go H4.
Hver satt? Já. Tilbúin. Samþykkt. Hver það? Já. Tilbúin. Já.
He's just got that town
Já,
center, that's the reason he's still in the match.
Skipan. Já. Hver samþykkt? Til já.
Although if your opponent doesn't have
Til atrás.
good cavalry or anti-cavalry, you could certainly go with raiding cavalry in H2. I mean, it's just nice to get Hersirs because you want to get them anyway as Loki.
Já.
I mean, that's kind of the problem. Loki is predictable in that respect. Because, like, yeah, you always want to go with Hersirs to some degree. So always be adaptable.
Skip, já.
Are you gonna give up or what?
Já, ég samþykkt. Hver það? Ég vil. Satt. Já. Ég vil. Atrás. Tilbúin. Samþykkt.
There we go. Literally had to fight them until the last freaking man. That was fun. Oh well. So that's it. That's how you do it. Like, quick age, like Hersirs with armor upgrades, specifically shield upgrades, you can be very aggressive unless you're dealing again. Like, there's few units in tier 2. Like, Toxicities will not win. Egyptian Axemen, maybe, very maybe. Like, maybe if it's Fa ones, and then he sacrificed a lot to get that Fa upgrade. I really don't see it, though. And then once you get to H3, it's like Mountain Giant, those trees, that's very difficult to fucking counter. There's a couple of things. Freyr can actually do quite well with Aegir, if he gets to tier 3 as well. Dionysus kind of with bronze, kind of. Though, you know, between Hydra's backed by Greek heroes or Hersirs backed by mountain giants, yeah, I think I'm going to put my money on the mountain giants. Just keep that aspect in mind. And again, it's like, there's no necessarily, like, if you think that the mountain giant tree combo is not going to give you the significant advantage, and your opponent has a substantial amount of cavalry or various units, you can always go with Bragi for flaming weapons, and you can really buff your herdmen in the process. Never stick to one particular build. I do find it difficult to argue against Heimdall. The reason I find it hard to argue against Heimdall is for a couple of reasons, especially as Loki, right? If you're talking about Freyr, if you're talking about Odin, that is a completely different discussion. But if you're talking about Loki, it is very hard to argue against that, because here's the reason. One, Undermine destroys enemy towers, so if your opponent is, you know, trying to use them, goodbye. But on top of that, the more important thing is, like, the Unhiri ability, the speed specifically that it gives you. Because, like, your opponent might try and do hit and runs, might try and run away. You won't catch cavalry with this, but you will overtake everything else, and you will kill everything else. And since Centaur speed has been nerfed or is being nerfed, then they're no longer really a problem. So if your opponent is trying to raid you, well, that's the thing. Like, Unhiri are just freaking amazing at this particular moment. And yeah, I know I should have gotten Rigstula, right? It's like, that would have been a smart move, I admit. I always forget about this one. But just don't. Just point that out there. Costin signing out.